Hi there, and welcome back to Elements of Art and our unit on value. I'm Natasha, and I have another art question for you. What is a value scale? Have you ever heard of it? Well, a value scale is actually a very valuable tool in art. A value scale looks something like this, but just knowing what it looks like doesn't provide a lot of information. Today, we are going to learn all about it. What could the purpose of this little graph be? And why is it so gray and dreary? Let's find out. In today's lesson, we'll be learning all about value scales, what they are, how and why they should be used, and 2 ways to make one. Take a moment and gather a few materials that you're going to need for this lesson. You will need your PDF, a pencil and an eraser, and either tempera or acrylic paint in black and white, a paintbrush, some water, and a paper towel. So when you see this little graph, what do you think the function of a value scale is? We see here a series of rectangles with various tones of gray. What function could it serve? Well, have you ever wondered how artists achieve realistic drawings with accurate shades and tones? To capture subtle variations in light and shadow, they rely on a valuable tool. This little value scale. But what exactly is a value scale? And why is it more than just a drawing exercise? A simple example of a value scale shows 5 separate values: white, light, medium, dark, and black, and is displayed in a progressive order, one way or the other, from light to dark or dark to light. This scale serves as a foundation for understanding how to render objects with depth and dimension, as well as creating a sense of contrast and form within a drawing or painting. Typically, a value scale is depicted in shades of gray, representing different levels of brightness or darkness. However, value scales can also be created using color, allowing artists to explore the tonal variations within a specific color. While the basic value scale consists of 5 values, artists have the flexibility to include as few or as many steps as they wish in their value scales. Adding more steps allows for a more nuanced exploration of values and can lead to a greater level of detail and realism in the artwork. So while you could have many values, we recommend you start out with the basic black and white value scale consisting of 5 values to grasp the fundamental concepts of value and tone before moving on to more complex variations. So as we've discussed, a value scale is a tool used in art to show a range of values. But why and how is it useful? When artists study the value scale, they learn to see the gradual transitions from light to dark and how it affects the overall composition. This understanding helps them create depth and form and texture in their artworks. It allows them to distinguish subtle tonal variations and replicate them with precision. But what are the practical applications of this skill? Understanding values can help an artist accurately create the illusion of light and shadow to add dimension and realism to a drawing or painting. Manipulating the amount or variation of values can also affect the feel of the work. Take, for instance, these drawings of apples. Look at the values visible in each example and really think about the level of realism achieved or the overall feel of each image itself. We're seeing something else in these apple images as well regarding their use of value, which is a variation of contrast. Have you ever heard that word before? Contrast? Take a look at these 2 images. They show various amounts of contrast. Based on what you see here, does it provide any clue to what contrast is in art? Well, this key term when discussing value, contrast, refers to the noticeable difference or variation between lightness and darkness in a work of art. Contrast is something that is created with value. Contrast is all about making things stand out. You can have various levels of contrast in your art. High contrast means a big difference between light and dark, while low contrast means a smaller difference. High contrast is dramatic and draws attention, while low contrast is more subtle and peaceful. Artists use contrast to control the focus and mood of their artworks. Take a moment to evaluate the following images. What do you notice about the values used in each image? Is a level of realism achieved? Do you see high or low contrast? Does the use of value direct your eye or create any sense of emotion? Pause the video and analyze. So now you know why some artwork occasionally feels flat and lackluster. The key lies in whether or not values have been used effectively. By practicing with value scales, you can train your eyes to see and create the various shades that bring depth and life to your art. Mastering values allows you to effortlessly create both high and low contrast, guide viewers' eyes, and evoke specific emotions through your artistic choices. Can you imagine how becoming skilled in the use of value can transform your artwork? What other benefits does a value scale offer? Well, a value scale also serves as a visual guide for artists to evaluate their work and make adjustments. They can compare the values in their drawings to those in the value scale, ensuring accuracy and consistency. This constant feedback loop helps artists refine their techniques and develop a critical eye for values. Before you can accurately use a value scale, it helps to know how to make one. In this section of the lesson, we'll look at 2 ways of creating a value scale. You can create value scales with a variety of different media. If using dry media like pencil or colored pencil, the amount of pressure you use along with the overlapping will determine the value created. When using wet media like acrylic or tempera paint, the amount of white or black mixed together will create your values. So the process for creating the values of your value scale varies greatly depending on the material that you use. So let's walk through a demonstration of each to get a better understanding. Let's start with pencil. This is a quick demo of creating a pencil-based value scale. You can follow along on your PDF. To make your 5 value scales, start by leaving the first block blank. In the next block, use your pencil as lightly as you can. In the middle block, increase your pressure slightly. In the fourth block, allow the pressure to stay consistent but build up more than one layer of graphite. And in the final block, use heavier pressure and multiple layers of applied graphite. Now we have a completed pencil-shaded value scale. Let's move on to wet media. This is a demonstration of how to create a value scale with paint. I'll be using acrylic for this example. Again, you can follow along in your PDF. You just need to have your white and black paint ready. In the first block, we will paint straight white. Now, we will skip to the final block and paint it straight black. Next, we will go to the middle block and use about 1 part black and 2 parts white. We will mix this and apply it neatly. Our goal here is to make a middle value. Go ahead and make a good bit as we are going to use this for the next 2 blocks as well. Now let's go back to the second block. This one should be darker than white, but lighter than the middle value we mixed. We can use our middle mix and add more white. Lastly, we will fill in the fourth block. This one should be lighter than black, but darker than the middle block. We can again use our middle mix, but this time we will add more black. It may take a couple of tries to get the right mixture, as it is easy to add too much black. Now we have a completed painted value scale. You've now learned about value scales, their importance in art, and how to create them. Remember, value scales are not just exercises. They are powerful tools that will enhance your artistic skills and allow you to add depth, dimension, and realism to your paintings and your drawings. Keep exploring the importance of value scales. You could even experiment with creating your own value scales with some of your other materials on your own. While you continue to work, remember, art is all around you.
Hey!